Yes, ladies and gents, welcome back to From Bromley with Love. I'm your host, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and join me for this very brief conversation, this very brief talking point. Today, Bromley announced the signing of two youngsters, Arsenal youngsters, both 20 years old, Alex Kirk and Kido Taylor-Hart. That signing was to go with the signing that was announced late last week of Ryan Jones from Bristol Rovers. And it just made sense. I mean, three signings in the space of effectively 3 or 4 days, sandwiched in between a 2-1 win away at high-flying Altrincham, had to do a video. Now, before I get onto the signings, first things first, I was not at Altrincham. So all of this content that you've been seeing this season, finally, the streak came to an end as there was a game that I actually could not attend. Somehow I managed to be able to get to Rochdale on a Friday night, but could not get to Altrincham on a Saturday. Other things were up and I just couldn't get there. I say that to say, if you're somebody who went to that game and you'd like to come on the show and talk about it for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, please jump in the DMs, jump in the messages, let me know. If you're somebody who wants to write about it, because some of you are Substack readers, you like the good, the bad, and the ugly, so you'll notice there's no good, bad, and ugly. I wasn't there, can't write about it. If you'd like to write your reflections on that game, doesn't have to be in the good, bad, ugly format. If you'd like to talk about that, by all means, be my guest, submit something. It's not just... None of these things, whether the YouTube or the Substack, are just me. If you want to get involved, let me know. And thanks to those, look at that, my email's making a sound. Thanks to those who have already reached out. One second, let me just deal with this, people. I have to turn off these work emails. Bloody hell, what an idiot. Anyways, there you go. So if you'd like to get involved, just let me know. But anyways, let's move straight into the news and what the premise of this particular video is all about. And that is, let me just bring it up on the screen. That is the signing of 3 players in the last 3-4 days. First things first, late last week, as I said, Ryan Jones. Let me take myself off the screen. I love to talk without me on the screen. First things first, the signing of Ryan Jones. Ryan Jones is depends who you talk to. Is he a defensive midfielder? Is he a left wing back? It'll be very interesting. I think he's a bit of both, and it's going to be very interesting to see if and how Andy Woodman chooses to use him going forward. Now, everyone's got Google, so I'm not going to try and patronize anybody and pretend that I've been a wise scout and done some deep-rooted analysis of what Ryan Jones can offer, and I pretend to tell you that I know all about him. I'm not going to do that because that would be dumb. I've not seen Ryan Jones play any significant amount of games. I've spoken to people who would know. And when I say would know, actually would know. And I'll go based off their words. But you can do the search yourself. Played for Hungerford, relegated Hungerford last season. Won their Young Player of the Year award, or Player of the Season award, I should say. And he comes highly rated. I mean, he was on loan at Hungerford. He joined Bristol Rovers, having made the step up from Western-super-Mare. Bristol Rovers rate him. Certainly when he signed, it didn't take long for everyone to see Bristol Rovers fans under like the Bromley handle going, what a signing, what a great player, so on and so forth. But as is the want with somebody who's only 19, 20, he's not had the necessary game time at Bristol Rovers level. I think they're in League One for us to judge him based on his league football pedigree. He's yet to get a proper run or sustained chance. We can only go off the fact that he was highly rated in National League South. And like I say, this is the next natural step for Ryan Jones. He now plays in a fully professional league, give or take Wildstone, Dorking, etc. He now plays in a fully professional league, a league that is on par with League Two. And he and Bristol Rovers will see this as a good step up. Andy Woodman has such a good reputation in the game for playing youngsters, giving them a chance, etc., etc. So it's a no-brainer. The thing that was interesting to me is where or if Ryan Jones gets immediate game time. And this is why I said to you it's going to be interesting to see how Andy Woodman uses him. If he is a left wing back, then it suggests his cover for Bez Topologe, depending on what you want to use there. So if Bez was to get injured, we have a natural replacement there. Now, obviously, some people will say, but what about Corey Whiteley? Obviously, Corey Whiteley can obviously play left wing back as well. Based on how we've started this season, it would suggest that Andy Woodman largely sees Corey Whiteley in a centre midfield role. And Corey hasn't even played at the front of the midfield or in the hole this season. He's actually played in a bit of a deeper role, coming from what I guess if you're a football manager player, you'd call him an MLC, right? He's coming from a left-sided central midfield role this season rather than in front of kind of two deep lying playmakers, so to speak. So assuming that Corey Whiteley's position has changed this season, I don't see Andy Woodman considering Corey Whiteley as the cover for Bez or the alternative. It looks like Ryan Jones, who's on loan till January, is there as that cover or alternative. And let me also state that Andy Woodman has always been clear. He wants players in all positions to be under competition and under challenge. Yes, Corey can play there, but Bez now has a player who is directly in competition with him. But, like I say, it's quite possible that Ryan Jones is also there from a defensive midfield perspective, and it'll be interesting to see if he's used in that regard going forwards. And that's not to discredit Sam Woods. Sam Woods, I think, has been excellent since getting into the side completely out of the blue and fresh, without kind of the necessary build-up of minutes. But again, Sam Woods has no obvious challenger in that kind of anchorman role, which he has excelled in front of the defense. Woodman likes a strong squad. So the Jones signing makes a bit of sense, but he's yet to get minutes. We've yet to see him, so we cannot judge the quality of the signing truly until we see him play for Bromley. And then moving on, as announced about 3 hours ago at the time of recording. Now, I had heard about this one, not because I'm anybody special. I had just heard through grapevines that more signings were coming in. And in fact, I'm expecting one more signing to turn up. I don't know if it'll be announced later this week or at the start of next week, but I'm certainly expecting at least one more signing to come through the door in the very near future. But announced earlier today, and these are two extraordinarily... it is not hyperbole to say that these are two serious statement signings. And Andy Woodman is to be, I know he's got a relationship with Arsenal. I know Alex Kirk knows him. I know Kido Taylor-Hart knows him, sorry. But it's one thing, young players knowing a manager and young players knowing a manager and saying, I am going to drop down from Arsenal under 23s to go and play in the National League. We've had players in the past who haven't even wanted to come play for us from the Championship because they deem the National League to be too far a drop in quality, not befitting of their status as a Championship under 23 player or a Premier League under 23 player. So don't get this twisted. This is a coup to get players this talented and it is to drop down to the National League and accept and want to play senior men's football at a standard that is becoming increasingly recognized as a quality standard of football. Again, for those of you who are new to all of this, the National League is effectively League Two. It is not non-league. It is League Two in all but name. So let's deal with Alex Kirk first. Alex Kirk is probably somebody who's seen as future captain material. In whether he makes the grade at Arsenal or whether he eventually goes somewhere else, he's somebody I understand to be seen as future captain material. And he's just come off a successful loan spell that was, so he was there, he was at Ayr in two different spells because he was there until about, I think, November-ish. And then he got an injury, and then he went back at the back end of the season. For those of you who follow Scottish Championship football, Ayr had a really good season last season. They made it to the eliminators in the Scottish Championship. I think Partick Thistle worked them over, in fairness. We actually have, believe it or not, within the Bromley fan base, I can think of at least 4 Bromley fans who are Ayr United fans. And when I say Ayr United fans, as in travel to go and watch Ayr United play when it allows them due to their family links and so on and so forth. So in last season's Scottish Championship, Ayr United came second in the Scottish Championship and then lost in the playoffs because only one team goes up automatically. They lost in the, let me find it. I just remember that they lost to Partick Thistle. So my apologies for not being able to recall. Sorry, yeah, they lost in the semi-finals to Partick Thistle, and then Partick Thistle lost to Ross County. So Ross County effectively kept their place in the Scottish Premier League. So I guess a lot of it is about where do you rate the Scottish Championship? What standard of football do you believe the Scottish Championship is? We Martin Gregg, who provides a lot of the photographs that you see on the Substack page. For those of you who subscribe to the Substack page and read the good, the bad, and the ugly. Martin Gregg, who's a Bromley fan, who he supports Raith Rovers, and I actually asked Martin the other day, what standard of football do you think Scottish? Sorry, what am I talking about? Raith Rovers are in the SPL. Sorry, people, I'm all over the place here. No, are they in SPL or in the Scottish Championship? So, Raith Rovers in the Scottish Championship. And I said to Martin Gregg, I should never second guess myself. I said to Martin Gregg, what standard do you think Raith Rovers are in comparison to Bromley? And he thought that Raith Rovers, and he might be biased in fairness, but he thought that Raith Rovers could easily compete at a level above the National League. But at the same time, he said that the top tier sides in the National League he considered to be probably on a par somewhat with a team like Raith Rovers. Now, Raith Rovers are in the Scottish Champ. Ayr came second in the Scottish Champ, above Raith Rovers. So take that for whatever it is. For those of you who know Martin Gregg, go ask him about the Scottish Championship and that level of football. So Alex Kirk comes from a successful loan spell from Ayr, gone back to Arsenal, and now Arsenal have loaned him to us. Now, the big question mark I've got about Alex Kirk after that long-winded chat about the Scottish Champ, the big question mark I've got about Alex Kirk is this. We already at Bromley have 4 centre-backs. Callum Reynolds, Chinna Byron Webster, Cole Kepkewa, and now Alex Kirk. So for those of you watching, listening, and get in the comments below, or if maybe reply in the Facebook group, wherever I post this, even if Alex Kirk is highly rated, even if he's as good as some at Arsenal say he is, even if he's as good as the loan spell he had in the Scottish Championship last season, what's our first choice centre-back pairing then? I'll say it again. Callum Reynolds, Byron Webster, Chinna Cole Kepkewa, and now Alex Kirk. 5 can't go into 3. Now, at a push, if I'm looking at that centre-back, that 3-pronged centre-back partnership, I would say, just straight off the top of my head, well, Byron has to drop out. Why? Because Byron is 36 years old. He's a senior statesperson in the side. And this is all said with respect. And slowly but surely, Byron will start to wind his season down. But, since Byron has come into the side, someone tell me a bad game he's had. Maybe the Barnet one, but the whole team was dreadful against Barnet. Someone tell me in general if Byron Webster is deserving of being dropped out the side. Not for me. Not for me. I think his experience has been critical in this turnaround in form. I think he has marshaled the defence well at the centre of defence. I think his leadership has been important. And most importantly of all, I think he's shown that at 36 years of age, he ain't going nowhere. He's still got that drive and desire to play at the top of his he's still got that drive and desire to play to the best of his ability at this level of football, and the best of his ability at this level of football is still good enough. I know not everybody will agree, but that's how I'm seeing it based on how he's performed since coming into the side. Written about Chinna Cole and the good, bad, and the ugly. Raw, 19 years old, but he's got all of the attributes that will see him become a success in and have a long professional career, should he so want it. He has had some subpar games. He's had some brilliant games, as you would expect with a 19-year-old. And Callum Reynolds, well, what do you want me to say about Callum Reynolds? He's essentially consistency personified. Again, bit of a subpar start to the season. He got dropped. He's come back in. Since he's come back in, he's been what Callum Reynolds is. Minimum 7 out of 10 every game, sometimes 8, sometimes 9. So, again, it probably speaks to what Andy Woodman wants. strong squad competition, strength in depth. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see how he fits 5 into 3. Or is he looking at Alex Kirk and thinking, you could play in a different position for me? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm just asking the question. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see how, if, and when Alex Kirk gets into the team. But then look at the injuries we've had all this season. So many players have been injured that, again, you can't blame Andy Woodman for thinking, I need some more strength in depth. And then we move to Kido Taylor-Hart. Anybody who's even loosely affiliated to Kido Taylor-Hart should have heard about Kido from what? He's 20 now. At least 3 years ago, I knew about Kido Taylor-Hart. 3 years ago, I knew about him as a youngster tearing it up in age group football. I also knew about him because as a Jamaican and primarily as a Reggae Boys fan, there are those of us, and if Kido is listening to this, or if somebody has sent this to Kido for him to listen to, there is a significant amount of Jamaican football fans who are in the know that Jamaica are monitoring Kido and want Kido to represent Jamaica should he so choose. And Kido, if you're listening, come represent Yard. That's what you need to do. Come represent Yard. That's the way forward, right? So I know he's on Jamaica's radar. So I've been hearing about Kido Taylor-Hart for time. Last season, I'm sure Andy won't mind me saying it now because Kido has now signed. Last season, Andy Woodman said to me that he was trying to get Kido to come to Bromley, and it didn't work out. Kido went to Derby County. It was a weird one. He went to Derby County on loan, but then exclusively played for Derby's under-21s. And I think this probably speaks to where Kido's career is at right now. He hasn't pushed on in the way that he would have wanted to at Arsenal. That doesn't mean that Kido doesn't have ability, not at all. If any of you haven't seen Kido play before, I guarantee you within 3 minutes of Kido's first few touches on the ball, you'll be like, this kid has unbelievable technical ability. What on earth is he doing playing at National League level? I think he's playing at National League level because Kido has realized I need to play some football. I need to play some senior men's football. He hasn't played enough of it. You can rip it up on the under-23s, under-21 level for only so long before you have to ask yourself, where is my career going? And that's not criticism. I'm saying that with total respect. Kido is too talented to still be playing age group football at Arsenal. At some point, you have to say to yourself, I'm at Arsenal, but am I playing football? If you understand what I mean, respectfully. And Kido's there. And kudos to Andy Woodman for how he's managed to convince Kido that what he needs to do right now is play a whole season of football. And for Kido, that means playing at Bromley's level. And it's worth pointing out that these 2 loans are season-long loans. An unbelievable coup to sort that out. Now, what I would expect, I think I could be wrong, but again, hearing through the grapevine, I think there was an expectation that Kido would possibly leave Arsenal permanently this summer. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Call me out on it. The fact it's a season-long loan tells me that Kido will probably leave Arsenal at the end of this season. And hopefully him and his agent have said, you know what? A strong full season with Bromley maximizes my ability to get a good move rather than sitting in Arsenal's under-21s, just playing some more age group football. Let me get out there and prove myself. And it's win-win. And whether he wants to look at Ali Al-Hamadi, whether he wants to look at Ellery Balcom, whether he wants to look at Ryan Stirk, whether he wants to look at Deji Elorere, there are plenty of examples of youngsters who have come out of academy system. Bez Topoloy, Alex Mitchell. There are plenty examples of youngsters who have come out of senior football, come out of football under-23s, under-21s to come to Bromley, and then they've got a move or gone back to their parent club and kicked on. So respect to Kido for agreeing to the move, respect to Alex and seeing the bigger picture of what it can do for their careers, and fundamentally respect to Andy Woodman because it's him that's got these deals done. It's him and his connections that Some of you will be like, oh, Mash, you're always sucking up to Andy Woodman. No, it's true though, isn't it? It's him that's got these deals done. If there's no Andy Woodman here, do these players come? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, lastly, so what does that mean for Kido and the team? Kido's a winger. So when he signed, in the back of my head, I was like, so where's Kido going to play? For me, Kido signing gives Andy Woodman options. It's not as simplistic as saying, oh, Kido's a left winger or Kido's a right winger. So now what does Andy do? We play 3-5-2. No, it's deeper than that. The teams that do well in the National League have big squads. Those big squads have the flexibility to play in different shapes and different formations. All of a sudden, now that he's got a Kido Taylor-Hart, and I'm talking specifically about Kido here, it suddenly gives Andy, and remember Todd Miller is already here. He's already got Corey and he's got Louis. Kido Taylor-Hart gives Andy Woodman an option to now play 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. Or if he wants, he can use Kido through the middle. Not as I wouldn't say necessarily as a striker, could be off a striker, could be behind the front too. Kido gives him options to now Kido gives him options to now consider a variety of systems and formations. If he wants to, Andy, there is now an option to go straight 4-4-2. Kido on one wing, Todd Miller on the other wing. Speed, pace, skill, ripping it up. I'm just saying it gives options to Andy Woodman because that's what squad depth does. So kudos to Bromley. 3 signings. Like I say, I think one more is on the way. Let's see if that materializes, but that's what I think is going to be happening. And we look forward to, could be a big anticlimax, but we look forward to Saturday, Bromley back on TV again at home to Maidenhead, 3 o'clock kickoff. I will be there for that one. And like I said at the start of the video, if anybody wants to come on and talk about the Altrincham game, hit me up, be my guest. Let me take this off the screen. I'm back. Hit me up. Hit me up, be my guest. Let's conversate about it, and maybe I'll try and find an Altrincham fan as well. But Bromley 5 unbeaten, 3 new signings. Excited for the game on Saturday. We go again. Subscribe to From Bromley with Love. Like, share. You know the jazz. I think we're on 99 subscribers. Channel's only existed for about 2 weeks. We're on 99 subscribers. Let's make it 100. Let's kick on. Let's move on. Thanks for listening. See you soon.